Hey all, Siege here, and I'm just going to come out and ask, because you've already seen the thumbnail, so you know what I'm going to talk about. Do you think it's time for Destiny 3? And with that in mind, considering there really is no proof Destiny 3 is even on Bungie's radar, is a Warframe 2 something that should be considered as well? Hey, I'm just putting the question out there right now, okay? That's all. I'm not advocating for or against either of them. Yet. Before I do that, I'd like to get your take on this, and if you're willing to stay to the end of the video, I actually have a few announcements for the channel I'd like to make as well, which I hope you do, as it's very important to me. Anyway, I noticed something recently while I was playing Destiny 2, and haven't been able to unnotice it since in both that and Warframe. Long story short, I feel like for the content I play, the weapons and abilities that I'm supposed to be chasing really don't matter, and that's, what I'm supposed to be chasing. Narrative is dead in these games. Destiny's story just keeps revolving around side stuff. Who knows when we'll actually get to the darkness? Something that was teased again in Shadowkeep, and now we're back to dealing with Osiris, the dumbest, quote-unquote, smart person ever. Seriously, for this guy being known as such a legend in the lore, all we seem to do is clean up his mistakes.
More precisely, I remade it using the power of the forest. Fortunately, the situation has escaped my oversight.
After the Guardian destroyed the root mine the first time, we spent weeks taking the simulation apart. The Vex have rebuilt it entirely. You've really messed things up this time, Osiris.
It was a risk I had to take, Sagira. The Guardian has this handled.
I never found Saint's final moment against the Vex. I encountered younger versions from his first mission to Mercury, among others, but none were the right Saint. The prototype Sundial still exists, accessible off the main deck. And it can still travel through Saint's personal timeline on this planet. But venture there at your own peril. He cannot be saved.
Look at this place. I cannot believe what this city has become.
Now, on the other end of the coin, we have Warframe, which hasn't released a story quest in well over a year, and there's no date on when the next one is actually coming. And even if it comes soon, it's still way too long for a legitimate act in the entire story arc, It's not just that either. These days, Destiny 2 seems to evolve completely around the concept of two things: doing bounties and getting new guns with different stat rolls on them. And this same idea is perpetuated from season to season, with the content created for each being solely based around that specific thing. As I mentioned, the narrative is actually pretty irrelevant in the end. The only things you really get out of each season useful for future content is, well, guns and armor. This is a real problem when said guns and armor being offered really don't do anything that the ones offered the previous season don't. Or the one before that. Or the one before that. The perks and even perk combinations are relatively the same between all the weapons, so there are only very subtle differences between this season weapons versus what's been available in the previous seasons. Oh, with this season though, if you grind hard enough to reach rank 92 in the season pass, the weapons get a switchable perk. Woo! Not to mention, once you've gotten your hands on a few god roll combinations, it begs to ask, why am I trying to grind out a new god roll pulse rifle with an older god roll pulse rifle? I mean, variety is important, but let's be real. Most of us have a few go-to weapons, and although we can add to that collection each season, none of the new stuff is going to do anything the old stuff can't content-wise, and if you play long enough, I think there are only so many god rolls you can have before it starts to lose its luster. These seasons are now offering only a 10 light level increase before pinnacle gear is the only form of upgrade outside of the artifact, but even the best weapons and armor can't really push a player to the point where they can take on this content without basically the same help they already need without the best weapons and armor, A capable fire team, some communication and direction, capable weapons and armor, which they probably already have, and a modicum of skill based on the aforementioned fire team. So because of that, there's no real reason to keep pushing unless you're a collector. And there's very little in the game that even requires meta PvE weapons to complete. Now you can blame that on whatever you want. PvP, overall weapon balancing, whatever. The sad fact is that once you get to a certain point in Destiny, it's more and more likely that the most efficient way to play the game will become this. Get bounties. Bring all the necessary weapons you need to complete the bounties. Go to places to kill hordes of enemies mindlessly. Go back to the tower. Get more bounties. Go to the planet, get bounties. Repeat, repeat, repeat. This allows for a guaranteed light level increase for the artifact. Something even Pinnacle gear doesn't guarantee you is you can easily get a piece of that gear that doesn't help depending on what the level of the gear you're already wearing is, which is insanely annoying given the effort needed in most circumstances to even get it. Once you get enough XP through the artifact, however, your level increases automatically, which I do like, given that it gives everybody the opportunity to get their character leveled up, people in groups and solo players alike. But there's just not enough in that required increase to feel the need to play, you know? Now, Warframe tried to incorporate some of this bounty mechanic with Nightwave, and although I like the clear path to things like Nightane, certain cosmetics, and even some nice rewards, it still kind of puts me in the same position Destiny does. Play this, use this stuff, do these missions. And I don't always want to do that mission type, you know? I don't want to do 10 Syndicate missions that will basically just waste my time for half a level in Nightwave. I don't want to go to the Plains of Eidolon and do 5 bounties. There's nothing I want there. And I don't want to have to forma my weapon, not because I don't have the forma, but because I don't have to level the damn thing up again. And I realize it's only that one mission in Hydron you really need to do. But it's still a pain in the ass, and boring as hell. Look how many fucking statues I have around my ship. I don't want to have to go out and get more, but all of mine already have stars slotted in them. So I guess I'm going to have to find more if I want to complete that bounty. This is all busy work. That's what most of Warframe is these days, busy work. The unnecessary grind in both the Kuba Liches and Railjack, even with the changes, especially with such little in the way of like an actual narrative.
You tore me to pieces, Tenno! That wasn't very nice.
Maybe see that more than anything. Oh, and I almost forgot. Warframe also introduces new weapons fairly frequently with these content updates. But most of the time, I don't even realize they exist. And unfortunately, just like with Destiny, I'm not sure it even matters. Maybe if I get a new Rivet, I might build one of the new weapons. But I got out of the Mastery Rank game a long time ago because I found myself predominantly playing Hydron with weapons I couldn't wait to delete. But to me, it's still the most convenient, you know, for doing this piddly little bullshit. I mean, I think you could make a similar case with the Warframes as well, but, you know, for a different reason. Mainly that there's only so much you can do with abilities, and with more and more abilities basically doing the same thing on different Warframes in more and more situations, most people have their top 5 or 6 frames for different content and get new ones just to say they have them. Wait, what the fuck is the Quellor? And this is something I only expect to get worse. There's really only so much you can do to stay original, and every year brings more and more frames. I feel like in the past, the narrative, in anticipation of where the story was headed, along with whatever new stuff was coming game mode-wise, kind of made it worth it to log in every day. Having a quest giving some backlore to the frame we're getting, not just some hidden lore stuck in some little area. Chimera, the info from the Ropalolis fight. Empyrean, with its little prologue cinematic. All that stuff, well, it's just not enough. And it reeks of laziness. And interestingly enough, I equate this very type of thing with the bulk of Destiny's narrative. Constantly trying to add to the aforementioned side stories, bringing back old characters, dead characters in many instances, instead of addressing major things. Like, here's one. Now that the Traveler is alive, what is it? You're telling me no one in the tower is wondering? Like, I can buy that all the people that knew anything about it before the collapse are dead, but it's alive now, and it's right there. So what happened to it? Don't we want to know in case, I don't know, we're invaded again? How about a quest around that? There's a lot of speculation that the Traveler was trying to escape Earth, and it was, for lack of a better word, prevented from doing so? With the darkness confirmed on the moon, should we be concerned about it, happening again? Beginning to think there's some random person who works at both DE and Bungie and has somehow wrangled creative control for both games because they feel so grindingly similar now. And don't get me wrong, I love grinding in games. I just need to have a reason to do it, that's all. And maybe that's what I feel isn't there like it used to be. It's definitely coloring both the type of content I produce as well as the desire to produce it. I want to be excited about something so much that I can't wait to talk about it. What in the fuck in Warframe or Destiny 2 is there to be excited to talk about right now? Multiple updates in Warframe have come over this new year that could have been for new content, but instead seem to predominantly contain bug fixes and adjustments to the grind, and happen way more frequently than story content, I can tell you that much. Or how about Destiny? Like, how many times can we go to Mercury and it not be interesting? Actually, that one I might want to talk about, so we'll hold off on that one. But anyway, getting back to the real question. Should there be a Destiny 3, or should they keep on the path of Destiny 2 until, the end of the game? How about with Warframe? Do you think adding to this monstrosity of a game forever and ever and ever is the way? Or will there be a Warframe 2 at some point? I'd like to hear your take on it. At this point, I'm still undecided for a number of reasons, so I'd use your comments to flavor my own argument in a future episode. Speaking of future episodes, it's time to finally establish a schedule for everyone that's been asking. Every Sunday evening, you can expect a video from the channel. And on that note, I'm going to be establishing a kind of more permanent residence on YouTube. Something I've never really done, meaning basically I'm going to be finally taking it somewhat seriously. So if any of that seems intriguing, make sure you keep an eye on the channel, join my Discord, and check me out next week or sooner. At any rate, thanks for listening and being rational, hopefully. I hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful rest of your week. I'll talk at you in the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye.